The Honourable Third Member for Pamplemousse Triolet.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. B1174.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I thank the Honourable Member for this question. Let me remind the House that last year, in the annex to the budget, speech 2025-26, it was announced that the Financial Services Commission would review its annual license fees to reflect evolving market conditions. It is also important to recall that the FSC had not reviewed its processing fees since the year 2008, that is 19 years ago, whilst the licensing fees were last adjusted in 2019, that is 7 years ago. So during that period, FSC has absorbed the rising operational costs, inflationary pressures, and significantly expanded international compliance obligations with heightened supervisory demands. As regards Part A of the question, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I am informed that the FSC has consulted with the Ministry of Finance, with Mauritius Finance, with industry stakeholders, and with my ministry. And the FSC was advised by my ministry that international benchmarking should be done to ensure that the MIFC remains internationally competitive in terms of cost of doing business. I am informed that a benchmarking exercise was indeed undertaken by the FSC against competing jurisdictions such as Singapore, Rwanda, India, Gibraltar, Luxembourg, UK, Cayman Islands, Cyprus, South Africa, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Hong Kong, Isle of Man, Bahamas, Bermuda, and Guernsey. The benchmarking exercise has shown that in most cases, Mauritius remains by and large a competitive jurisdiction. And I'm tabling a sample from the benchmarking exercise that has been carried out by the FSC. I am informed, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, that overall in the new fee structure, the processing and/or annual fees of 33 licenses have been reduced, and the processing and annual fees for 83 and 87 licenses respectively have remained unchanged to promote growth of these sectors. On the other hand, 25 out of 145 types of licenses saw an increase in the processing fee and/or the annual fee. And out of these 25 licenses, 24 have increased within the range of 10 to 40%, while there is one license for which the processing and licensing fee has increased by 300%, namely for authorized companies. For this category of license, the annual fee has increased from USD 350 to USD 1,400, and the processing fee has increased from USD 150 to USD $600. With regard to Part B of the question, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, following the budget speech, Mauritius Finance, which is the industry association, asked for a meeting with me, and indeed I met 6 representatives of the organization on the 2nd of July 2026. They had a number of concerns with regards to certain measures that were announced in the budget, and also some concerns regarding the increase of the fees by the FSC. I explained to them that while we were very sensitive at the ministry with regarding the cost of doing business, which is one of the main pillars of our strategy report, that government and Ministry of Finance had their own imperative, and that we will do our best to see how certain measures can be mitigated. However, it has been noted that there were public commentary and outcry to the effect that there has been an unreasonable increase in the cost of doing business, especially highlighting the isolated case of the increase in fees of authorized companies. And while these differing views from stakeholders forms part of a healthy consultation process, the public narrative wherein some of our own operators are criticizing the sector and the jurisdiction in the press and the social media, it can cause harm to our global reputation. It risks creating a misperception that the jurisdiction's only attractive feature rests on low cost or competitive costs rather than on high quality of service and regulatory compliance. Public narratives portraying Mauritius as losing competitiveness purely on the account of the license fee of one product out of 145 products may inadvertently undermine the image of the IFC ecosystem. I am also informed by the Commission that the Commission has emphasized that the targeted adjustment reflects the complex cross-border nature and higher inherent risk profile of these entities called authorized companies, as they operate with significant international exposure requiring more intensive risk-based supervision. Aligning processing and annual fees with the supervisory effort required supports the effective implementation of international standards set by international standard bodies such as the recommendations of FATF. And however, if we wish to compare fees being charged by the different jurisdictions, the total cost of doing business is a more realistic parameter instead of just the regulator's license fee. And I further wish to point out, as mentioned, ACs are strategic structuring vehicles that support wealth, private wealth, investment holding, and cross-border group structures. To this effect, an increase in the USD of about $1,050 should not have a considerable impact, particularly given the fact that the cost of relocation to the above-mentioned jurisdiction is likely to outweigh the additional fee charge, and therefore an exodus of ACs moving to any jurisdiction is an unlikely scenario. Mr. Deputy Speaker, my ministry has been informed that FSC will continue in engaging closely with relevant industry stakeholders to ensure that the jurisdiction remains both competitive and reputable while preserving the strategic interests of the sector and the country. And let me reassure the House that the government remains committed to maintaining Mauritius as a competitive and reputable IFC while ensuring that the regulatory framework remains aligned with evolving market conditions and international standards. Thank you.
You have one supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Try to be brief with the reply to the supplementary, please.
Est-ce que l'honorable ministre pourrait informer la Chambre si son ministère a considéré la possibilité que notre juridiction perde les authorized companies en faveur des Seychelles et quel serait l'impact sur les acteurs économiques dans ce secteur?
Indeed, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, there have been reports that there is a risk of exodus of our authorized companies to Seychelles. In fact, there is some misconception about the international business companies, the IBCs, which are being compared to the authorized company. The IBC in Seychelles is not regulated by the Financial Services Authority. It is only registered with the FSA. That is, the company has a legal existence, but it is not undergoing any oversight, compliance, or obligations and licensing fees. If an IBC goes into a regulated activity, then they require another license. From what my assessment and what the ministry's and FSC's assessment is that this one isolated case of companies moving to Seychelles is quite exaggerated, and but we will continue monitoring the situation. But as of
Okay.
now, there
Thank you,
is not
reply.
major concern.